request by President Tinubu. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Olabisi Deji Olutile. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin with politics and the protracted leadership crisis that rocked the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. The Supreme Court has affirmed Sylvester Ezeonkewa as the national chairman of APGA, putting an end to the party's leadership dispute. In two unanimous judgments, a 5-member panel of the Apex Court held that Edozie Njoku wrongfully laid claims to the APGA chairmanship. In a judgment read by Justice Stephen Ada, the panel held that in its 2021 judgment, only declaratory reliefs were granted and the reliefs were not executory. Justice Ada held that it was wrong for Njoku to have gone before the lower court to seek enforcement in a judgment that had nothing to be enforced, as no executory reliefs were granted. Now, BKO, let's begin the conversation this way. Is it safe to say that the Supreme Court has now finally, resolved the dispute in the APGA national chairmanship controversy?
Yes. I think without a shadow of a doubt, the matter has been laid to rest because both Edozie Njoku and Sly, the man who went to court with him, both had cause to look at the Supreme Court judgment and affirm that they were the rightful owners, the rightful national chairman of the party. Both won cases at the level of appeal courts, different cases. And so it was necessary for the Supreme Court to ultimately step in because Edozie Njoku argued that there were errors in the Supreme Court judgment and that both of them interpreted the judgment to be in their favor. You see, this whole thing is a product of factionalization of a party. APGA is among the 3 oldest parties in Nigeria.
Sure.
Unfortunately, look at where APGA is today. At the time when Victor Ume was stepping down as national chairman, they had national conventions, 2 different national conventions. One held in Oka, the other one in Owerri. The one held in Oka produced Victor Oye, and the other one in Owerri produced Edozie Njoku.
Okay.
The Supreme Court eventually affirmed that the Victor Oye, the convention that produced Victor Oye was
the rightful.
Yes, because that faction of the party produced the governor of Anambra State.
Okay, Soludo.
Yes. Okay. Now, the way to look at this is this way. The faction, the transition midwifed by Victor Ume, gave birth to Victor Oye.
Okay.
And Victor Oye conducted the primary election, governorship primary election, that produced
the governor.
Yes, the governor. So they had been tussling all along. If it had not favored the Victor Oye faction, Governor Soludo would have been in trouble.
Exactly.
So, because whatever came out of that convention
would have been null and void.
Yes. Now, because the transition midwifed by Victor Ume was deemed right before the law. Even after Victor Oye left office, the person that he produced, that's the Sly Ezeonkewa, will now be seen as the rightful party chairman.
In the eyes of the law.
Yes, because when you look at it, what transpired in Owerri was deemed a nullity. But what transpired in Oka was validated through the Supreme Court 2 times. Whatever argument they had about that judgment, the Supreme Court has finally put it to bed now. That there is no doubt that it is Sly Ezeokinwa that is the rightful occupant of that position. They've been abusing one another, going from TV station to... I know that we brought both of them to this place. Okay. So, at least on our current affairs programs, I'm happy that at last we now know who the
chairman, the rightful chairman.
I can tell you that even Soludo, where he is, will be excited because he can never be comfortable that he will get a second-term ticket
until that matter is resolved. Okay,
from the
other faction.
Yes, because all along it was not with them. So although Odozenjoku said he had nothing against him, but we know in politics people make remarks that do not really come from their heart. So I am happy that this matter has now been laid to rest. If from now he continues to parade himself as the chairman, national chairman of the party, then the law enforcement will have to step in.
We'll have to step in. Illegality.
That will amount to illegality and you could be arrested.
Sure. Now, with the Supreme Court ruling, can we say that the crisis that's been rocking APGA for quite some time, can we say that it's now been resolved? Or should we still expect more issues?
Well, at least one has been resolved.
Yeah, okay, one has been resolved,
the
okay.
The chairmanship position has been resolved. And I think it's also important to note that the Supreme Court awarded the total cost of 60 million
yes.
in Joku fashion, and also noted the fact that the lower court and the appeal court ought not to have held
the matter
in the first instance, and warned courts to be careful in the way they take up matters that has been ruled upon.
But who should be blamed for that?
Supreme Court. I think it is the court, so to say, because since the Supreme Court has ruled, and I think the court should study the ruling of the Supreme Court before entertaining whatever the other parties brought in to be looked into, because it's like entertaining a matter that has already been settled. But you know, politicians will always look for any loophole in any area to establish whatever they have that is in their interest. So I think the courts need to be more careful, just like the Supreme Court ruled or observed in dealing with cases that politicians bring about.
In short, the judiciary itself should be.
So if you know that the case does not really have any meat, because look at it now, it has wasted the time of the judiciary.
A whole lot.
So because before this thing went from lower court to appeal court back to the Supreme Court, and all of these things cost money.
Yeah, it does. It
costs money, it costs time, and the judiciary that we are even saying that there are so many cases at the Supreme Court and even at all levels, and now that you are now bringing frivolous matters, that is in court. Though, you know, we need to be more careful about that.
Yes, we need to be more careful. All right, I think it's a fine place for us to leave it. Let's move straight to our next conversation. Despite political challenges, the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, is trudging on with governance of the oil-rich state. Governor Fubara has commenced payment of